Hello, and welcome to everybody who's tuning in. We're looking forward to diving in today to talk to you a little bit about cash flow and how you can continue to drive that in these challenging times. My name is Joey Yates. I'm the Senior Business Development Director for DealerTrack, and I have the privilege of overseeing our accelerated title solution. With me today is David King, my colleague. He knows all kinds of things about the used car market and works closely with many of you every day. He also works with our F&I teams and our titling team, so he can bring some great perspective to this issue today. So we're going to try to offer some unique perspectives with you today and also share some guidance on how you can focus your time and your efforts to make sure that you continue to drive good cash flow outcomes in the world that we're living in today. And as you can see, we're working from home, as are many of you. David, you ready to dive in here?
Joey, thank you very much for the introduction and kind words there. Ready to jump right in.
Awesome. All right, so like many of you, we at DealerTrack, of course, are monitoring the pandemic and trying to see what's going on and the impact and effects that that's having on our partners in the industry. As you all respond and adapt to all of this craziness, one thing that we hear from our dealers today, which frankly is not that different from what we've heard all along, is that cash is king.
You know what, Joey, great point, and he's very true. Historically, cash flow has been a major business decision on your daily operations, but in today's pandemic environment, it's even more important than ever. Cash flow is crucial in this current economy we're living in. So, Joey, on that topic, what I like to do is dive right in and talk about a couple things here. So, from your perspective, what are the primary drivers of cash flow that you see at a dealership?
So it's a great question and frankly a timeless one. So, it doesn't just apply during the pandemic, but it was true a year ago, it's true now for sure, and it's going to be true a year in the future. So I guess to me, David, it all really starts with sourcing. So when I think about sourcing, what I'm really talking about is how you're acquiring those vehicles that you'd like to sell at your dealership. In a lot of cases, that's going to be by purchasing that vehicle when you go through the wholesale auction lanes.
Yeah, very true, but also a lot of those vehicles, in fact, sometimes a majority of those vehicles will be brought in on trade from your customer base.
Yeah, that's a great point, David. So whether you're getting it from the wholesale auction lanes or you're getting it as a trade-in that's coming in with a consumer that hopefully is going to be walking away in a brand new vehicle, it's critical that you really put some time into the process up front to make sure that as you're contemplating that trade-in or that wholesale purchase, you're really thinking about vetting that vehicle and making sure that you're thinking of it as an investment. So what can the market bear for that particular brand, that make and model of vehicle in the area that you compete in? And then what kind of consumer might you be pulling into your showroom? And how is that different from what it might have been 3 months ago?
And that's great point right there, Joey, is that it is a different process than what we've seen historically, and we're having to do different things throughout the sales process. Many of these consumers are starting online right now. They are, as this online Zoom culture that we're living in is enhancing, the consumers are looking for things to happen in a quicker, more timely fashion, and that's happening on your buying process as well. You are having to make decisions on the trade-ins quicker, more timely, and sometimes with less information from the consumer because you're not able to see them. So you have to have the insights in that vehicle, be able to see behind the page, if you will, to be able to make a fast turn, to make it marketable, and to be able to sell it in a timely, profitable manner.
That's right. So when you think about it, we think it boils down to a couple of key things that you need to think about. So the first is, as David said, your ability to recon that vehicle and get it ready for sale. So how quickly can you run it through your process there? Another thing to consider is your ability to advertise that vehicle and how you're going to do that. So in the current world that we're living in, how does that change the mediums and the channels that you might use for that advertising and marketing effort? Because maybe that's different now, frankly, than it was 5-6 months ago. And now we also know we've got a glut of supply and insufficient demand. And of course, that changes as the factories pull back on their production and then put more things into the system. So you've really got to kind of constantly monitor that and think about the impact that it has on your ad spend. Also, one of the more important things to consider from our view is the back end process. So you can recon the car in 3 days, but if it takes you 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get the title and all the paperwork done, that's not going to do you any good because you can't legally sell it in the state that you're in. So make sure that you've got those back end processes really buttoned up so that you can get that vehicle onto your lot and make it a saleable vehicle just as quickly as you can recon the car. Once you've got that, the title receipt in particular is going to help you turn that inventory just as fast as you can get it done.
Great point right there, Joey. Many of the dealerships I talk to actually find that when they have a solution in place that helps to streamline their back office, from that vehicle coming in to be able to get it on the floor ready for resale, when they have a process to streamline their back office, to make that payoff, to allow them to gain faster titles, gain faster access to those titles, they're able to see reductions in holding cost. And by those reductions in that streamlined process, they actually improve their profitability, therefore improving their cash flow for the long run. Bottom line, the speed in titles equals an increase in the trade-in profitability.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously with the price of metal just getting higher and higher and the term of loans getting longer and longer, virtually all, if not, certainly the majority of those vehicles you're taking in on trade are going to have an outstanding loan. So David's point about being able to pay that off efficiently is spot on. So along those lines, though, as you're thinking about that, it's also important to mention the wholesale element. So sometimes when you get that trade in, it's not a vehicle that you want to retail on your lot for whatever reasons. And so you may decide that you need to take it the wholesale route. And if you're going to do that, it's also important to think about how these back-end processes impact that decision. So we know from our sister Manheim business that if you take a vehicle to auction and you have that title in hand, so the title's present, that's going to double your chances of selling that vehicle the first pass through the lane at the auction. So that's really critical because that means maybe you're taking 7 days off of your holding costs there. And the other thing that we know is that until you have that title and you can generate it and hand it in at the auction, you probably aren't going to be able to take your proceeds from that sale if you're lucky enough to sell it without the title. So if you're thinking about your wholesale units, don't just think about moving the metal. You've got to think about the cash flow implications of how you move that metal. And having that title in hand is really critical on that front.
Joey, great point there on the wholesale side of things. So when we look at the idea of speed in the back office process, what we're looking at is you're looking to increase your efficiencies and your speed in evaluating the vehicle. You're looking to increase your speed and your efficiencies in making sure it's the right vehicle, as in not fraud, not a vehicle that you can purchase. You're looking for speed and efficiency in making sure that you can get the vehicle to recon in a timely manner, to make sure you have the speed and efficiency to get it on your retail sales floor, or speed and efficiency to get it to wholesale, get it sold, get it out the door. So anytime we're talking about speed and efficiencies, I'm reminded of another saying, which simply comes down to time equals money. The less time we spend on each step in this process, the closer we get to the cash flow coming in, which is where we need to be to keep our dealer operations moving forward and growing. So DealerTrack offers digital solutions to help streamline this process, enabling cash flow through a faster term.
Yeah, I love it. So, cash is king, time is money. As Larry the Cable Guy might say, get her done. In my house, it was, I said so. All the great maxims can be boiled down to 3 words. If it takes you more than 3, it's probably not worth repeating.
Good advice, and the I said so is a good rule still today for your household today, Joey. Just take that.
Yeah, indeed it is. So, all right. So that brings us to our last topic of conversation for the day, which again is, we think a key for dealers. So David, from your perspective in the conversations you're having with dealers today and others in the industry, what would you recommend in terms of people managing cash flow in the current pandemic? Is it time for folks to get creative?
I would say it's actually the exact opposite of the time to get creative. The time to be creative and to think outlandish and think of all these newfangled first time ever ideas is when things are going well. Well, this pandemic environment is not that time going well time. Now is the time to find tried and true methods that people have implemented either other places or at other locations and been successful with, and piggyback on those to bring that success to you guys as well. It's the time to focus on digital solutions, virtual solutions that allow you the speed and efficiencies to make quick, efficient, and most importantly, right and profitable decisions. By becoming virtual, it also allows you the opportunity to become a more remote business operation as well, where many folks are trying to find ways, as Joey and I are right now, to work from home, to work so we're not side by side in that desk office environment. So when you're able to find those opportunities that have been implemented before, that allow you to make a quicker decision, that yet allow you to know you're making the right decision, therefore increasing that cash flow, that's where it's time to move. That's the timeliness you need in your back-end operations. And that's the time that you need for your used car inventory as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you summarized that perfectly. It's not necessarily about being creative, but it is today, and it always has been and will be about being efficient and driving improvements in your process. Someone said once that you should never let a good crisis go to waste, and I think that that's a great reminder for us all in the current environment that we're in. This is a really opportune moment for you to look at your process and to look at the technology that you're using to enable that, and really think about how you can drive improvements to what you're doing today to make sure that you're as efficient as you can be and as touchless as you can be. Where can you let technology do for you what a person typically has to do today? All right, so we've covered a fair amount of ground. So in summary, if you're going to walk away from anything, we would hope that it's these 3 points. So first, your used car inventory and those trade-ins that you're taking, the wholesale vehicles that you're buying, that's a solid source of easily recognizable cash flow for your dealerships. So take advantage of that. Time is money, and having speed and a streamlined process is essential to avoid bottlenecks in the flow of your funds. That's the second point. So time is money, and make sure that you're managing that cash flow inventory. And the final point is that cash flow opportunities are everywhere, and they can even happen in the current environment if you have the right solutions in place to address your process. So think about, as you're moving that metal, how the cash flow gets impacted in each one of those points along the process. If we can be of help, we would love to, of course. To gain some cash flow efficiency ideas and to move your titles more quickly, feel free to give us a call or visit us at go.dealertrack.com/AT. You can hear more about accelerated title and how DealerTrack might be able to help you improve your cash flow at your dealership. Finally, if you're listening in, there's a very good chance that you have a relationship with Cox Automotive or with DealerTrack or with any of our brands, and we'd be remiss if we didn't say thank you for your business. We appreciate you, and we want to let you know that we're here to help you. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
The benefits of working from home is you listen to people drop dishes into the sink. That's free.